I've always felt different. I've always seen things, but when I tried to express them as a child, I was always told to ignore it.
There were people that I didn't know that came to me and said, I have this message that I keep getting that I have to deliver to you.
All of a sudden, out of the shadows, a homeless man just jumped right in front of me. And he said, I'm a soul just like you.
I love it. I wanted to understand the universe and who and what we are and what are we doing here.
Well, we're all part of this amazing soul wave tapping into each other.
This was a major life changer.
You are a light. You have helped me a ton. Thank you.
You've given me the courage to live more from my soul.
Millions of people are awakening. So wake up with Michele Meiche, the place to hear the best-selling authors and experts in the fields of cutting-edge self-help, personal growth, metaphysics, and spirituality. The soul path of awakening. Understand what living awake is. Oh, yeah. Hello, everyone. Understand what living awake is. It's getting so much more important. How's everyone doing? Let me know in the chat how the sound is, how you're doing. Welcome, everyone. All right, if you're just tuning in and you're new, you can listen internet, right? You can listen via your browser. You can listen in the chat, or you can call in 347-539-5122, 347-539-5122, and press 1 on your keypad to get on air. Oh, I just took a bite of a roll and a little of my decaf cortado that I'm obsessed with right now. Kind of a little decaf cortado. How's everyone doing? Let me know. Let's see. Let's run down things. First of all, I want to thank everyone that has subscribed to Soul Insights and Tarot. Thank you so much for connecting and sharing your beautiful energy. Also, thank everyone that's subscribed to Awakenings with Michele Meiche podcast on YouTube. Also, really appreciate the support. And also, thanks everyone that has subscribed or followed or connected on Instagram. I have something coming up next week, kind of special on there that I'll let you know about. And also have some new people on Patreon, part of the Patreon Soul Awakening study group, soul study, and community. So just want to give a shout out to everyone. And actually yesterday I did a great reading for someone that is just newly subscribed to Soul Insights and Tarot. So it was great to put more energy to someone that does my pick a card. So really wonderful. All right, gang, if you're new to this program, the second half of the program, we'll have our Awakening Dialogue. Today we have, I think it's Cherise Johnson, founder of Jade Integrative Counseling and Wellness. We're going to dive in about patterns, crisis, trauma, which is so important to soul expression. If you have questions, comments, or you want a reading, you can call me, 347-539-5122, and I will tune in for you. And I'd love to hear from you. Let me know also when you call in or in the chat how you listen to Awakenings, where and how. We did this years ago. We did a whole where and how do you listen, and it was really fun because we had some people. One woman was a cyclist, raced cycling, bicycles, and so when she was training, another did it while vacuuming and cleaning. We had quite a few people that listened while they're working. I don't know what they were doing, but in their cubicles. And one guy said he had his headphones on, and then he would put his hoodie up. He was doing programming or something. We had all kinds of different horseback riding, cycling, cleaning, doing dishes. Cleaning was a big one, I got to tell you. Cleaning and work, running errands, going for a walk and a hike. Those were like close second and thirds. But apparently a lot of people listen while they're cleaning. Working out was another one, riding the bike, working out, but a lot were cleaning and work. So I want to touch on something. I'm not going to go into as great a detail. I'm going to be going more detail into it on Patreon, the nature of the soul and what we're really here for and manifesting from the soul. But also we are in a very, if you haven't felt it, live, sales you watch live for years. Oh, cool. So you're able to, okay. Yeah, it's amazing how many people are not able, well, because people work, people do stuff, other stuff, but great. All right, in the chat, welcome. Thank you for letting me know. You're going to start feeling, gang, if you haven't already, an intensification of energy. Now, I was all yippee, yippee, yay, yay with Pluto getting out of Capricorn. It's definitely a different energy. And so I'm kind of been guiding my people that I'm working with, like, to start bringing things in, ringing things in, making them make sense. Find a focal point. Find what even works. A lot of people are going to feel very scattered. Now, that's part of the process, though, of ascension, more soul alignment. You have more openings and opportunities, more interests. But in this energy of chaos, and we're going to be talking about this, taking chaos and understanding chaos and how to align to the chaos and to create from that. And to some degree, it's also kind of creating diversions or wall structures are in a form of diversion. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. So know where you are in the cycle of change. Know where you are in the cycle of creativity, which is also change, because when we are creating, we're changing something, right? Whether we are creating something about ourselves or recreating or reinventing, rebranding, it's a form of creativity. If you're changing yourself, your life, your world, it's a form of creativity. If you're painting, drawing, going out there in the world with your gifts, it's also a cycle of creativity. Oh, listen live, LLL, so sorry. Oh, wanting to watch live. Oh, you haven't. Oh, Sales, this is the first time live then. Let me see, time. Listening live. Well, soon it will be. Okay, I got that wrong. So first time live. Oh, great. So if you understand where you are in the cycle, then you won't get swept up in outer concerns or pulls for outer interests, outer experiences, or things that really aren't about you. Because I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a hint. There's a trajectory of things that are going on that are not going to change just because people are protesting or doing certain memes on Instagram or whatever, YouTube, TikTok, whatever, Snapchat, Twitter, X, until a certain outcome is reached. Now, that doesn't say don't, say, oh, I don't like this or I'm protesting this or that. It's not to say not to do that, but if you're getting caught up in that as the creator of the change, you're greatly mistaken. Change happens by where we put our important time and focus, time, energy, and focus. And a big part of that is financially. Where and how you show up. And as that becomes into more group consciousness and begins to spill over the mainstream, that's when things change. So it brings us back to the personal or the personal identity, the soul identity, which is, what are you here to really do and express? And as you integrate more of that, that's actually what radiates out. And look at what you're buying into. If you're buying into games of limitation or power over or underpowered, and you're getting caught up in things that you cannot realistically change, unless you find a way to do that, that's another thing. If you find a way or you're involved in something that you can see is creating beneficial change but not distracting you from your path, then so be it. Jump in and do it. So I would say this next 6-8 months, maybe 9 to 11 months. 9 months might be the sweet spot, somewhere around there. It's a different timeline for different people. You're going to see where you are affecting change for yourself and for others. Where is the most change for you? What is most aligned for you? And some of you are going to be surprised because it may not be what you thought, because it's coming more from the soul, less and less from the ego. And when you realize certain people are not let's say certain companies or institutions or governments are not going to change until a higher level of consciousness has been reached, until a broader spectrum of consciousness or consciousness in people has shifted. And some of them until their personal interests. So the best thing that you can do right now is really create systems that support you and those around you, and aggregate those systems, those connections, and that kind of strength. So in a way, creating a parallel world or reality, one that is based more on your principles, your focus, your values, and those that you're coming with, and those that maybe you want to see for yourself, for others, your children, grandchildren, on and on. So if you really look at power struggles, they don't get changed by going into the perceived power source, right? The temporal, power source. There's a new system that's created. Even if you look, I'm a big person. I love period pieces and history and documentaries. Even when certain governments were overthrown, or that, was Cleopatra killed so and so, or Caesar, or they kill one, king or queen, and then they usurp their power. It's the same pattern, which is going to be interesting to talk to Dr. Cherise, because she talks about patterns and repatterning. So until the pattern changes, the same result happens. It doesn't matter if it happens a year or 2 or 4 years later or 20 years later. It's the same pattern. It will repeat. And I think this is something that people aren't realizing, is they're trying to fight the pattern within the pattern. And you have to do a pattern interrupt, as we say in hypnotherapy and NLP. You have to do a pattern interrupt, and you have to find out what, for yourself, if you're wanting to change something, let's say you have addiction or something, you have to get a competing idea. You have to have something, a reason to change that's stronger, and then get that support. And within that, you have to create a pattern interrupt. It's not just mental, emotional, but a physical pattern interrupt. You have to introduce. One of the big things when I'm doing, let's say, hypnotherapy for body image, reimagining the body, and a lot of times that has to do with releasing weight, slimming down. We try not to say lose weight, because then you can find it again, right? Releasing it. Yes, I do all the hypnotherapy. I do all the scripting, the processing, the clearing work, emotional clearing work, but I make sure I give that person something to do that interrupts that pattern, even if it's seconds to sometimes minutes. But even within 30 to 45 seconds, if you interrupt a particular urge and put in a more life-enhancing or positive urge, that pattern gets interrupted for a degree. And if you can do it longer, for a minute to 3 minutes, then eventually 10 seconds, 45 seconds, it's interrupted, and you create a new pattern and the neural pathway that adjusts to that neurologically. So, and then you create a different reward, right? So, and then you don't need it. The pattern is interrupted, and then the body starts responding, oh, I don't want that. That's too much, or that's not right for me, or that's not healthy for me. Then your body wisdom starts kicking in more and more, because we can override our body wisdom, our intuitive awareness through our body, by our mind, our mindset, and our thoughts. We're actually taught to do that, actually, in society. We're taught to override, a lot of times, the guidance of our body wisdom and our intuition, that sixth sense. And so a lot of people are going to be reclaiming that now, reclaiming that aspect or that part of you, because the ego portion, for some the egoic, depending on what's going on with personality disorders, that part of the beingness, the cloak, is so overdeveloped that people don't even know. And I can tell it. I can tell by people's tone. You can feel it. The more awake you are, the more you can tell if somebody is coming from the ego or egoic impressions. and because the tone will be biting or clipping, because everything that's done seems to be, to that person, a slight on the ego level. And they're so connected into their false self, they've created a false self. So that is a big part. Within the next 10 to 15 years, we're going to see more and more of that, revealed and lessening. And I talked about it last week about the fall of celebrity, or the celebrity culture, or the influencer, and, all these names. Now, I'm definitely for expert. Definitely people can be an expert in their field and their life. To me, it's coming back to your own autonomy, your own inner authority, with mindfulness, openness, staying as that, not just a detached observer or witness of your life and things that are going on, around you or in your life, but also curiosity, keeping beginner's mind, that we're learning, and to some degree we're able to begin again. I think our guest last week talked about that. Who was that? She talked about beginning again. That was so brilliant, the willingness to begin again and not close off. And not only does that keep you very young and youthful, it keeps life interesting, and that's connecting to the soul, because the soul is forever curious, no matter how much it knows, or how much the higher self knows, or your wisdom or wisdom self, or it doesn't matter. There's that curiosity and that opening. I mean, I'm still so curious and amazed, and I say the awness of God, amazed at the accuracy of my readings. I mean, sometimes I'm giving personal readings, and people go like, Michele, you seem surprised. And I go, yeah, sometimes I just like, how does this work? I know you're broadcasting, I'm picking it up, but the accuracy, what comes through, or the person, the family member that comes through when I'm doing psychic mediumship work, the parent, the grandparent, the messages that come through, the exact images or picture of a place, or the ability to remote view, it still amazes me. The gift that I have and the training of it still amazes me. Or hypnotherapy sessions that I do, medical hypnotherapy, people getting rid of illness, disease, or blood pressure going down. It still amazes me. Even healings that I've had, physical healings, through my own intention, inner work, healing work, great, healthcare practitioners I've worked with, it still amazes me. It's, even though, yes, I live this way forever, and I'm steeped in it, it still amazes me. And it's like every time almost is like a new time, because it just so transcends our little perception, our little mind, our little self of what's happening or why. So find your focal point. I talked about this on Patreon a bit. I did a little bit of a deeper dive. I'm going to be doing more. And see how all emanates from that, your purpose. You've got to find your purpose now. You've got to find that deeper meaning, that fulfillment right now. What is your why? That's what I've been asking people. What is your why, and how do you want to do your why? The how is very important, because we're not just, people say human being. We're not human doings. Yes, we are. We're here to do. Not just observe and sit on the sidelines. That's a part of it, that observation, the detached observer. We are here to do. We are here to create. We are here to express. We're here to put our 2 cents in, 50 cents in, 50p in, our peso, our franc. We're here to put in our opinion and our output in all kinds of ways and levels, whether it's individually, within a family, a company, friends, whether it's online, whether it's in a group, whether it's in a corporation, whether it's through our art, our music. That is the realm of the soul, and that has been relegated to only a certain amount of the population for a very, very long time. And that's changing. It's been changing slowly, but you're going to start seeing that next burst of awakening where everybody is awakening to their idea of self-expression. I know in the regular world they call it your brand. Everybody has a brand. Everybody has once you realize why you're here, what you want to do, what you have to say, what your approach is, and this is kind of a lot of the stuff I help in the mentoring program, is I look at it on a soul level, but it's still very, I mean, you can do different languaging, and it's, gets you in the viewpoint of the mainstream world. But that ability to create meaning and purpose is what generates the ability to go from just surviving to thriving. And it generates fulfillment, joy, peace, calm. It just brings in, like, I'm here and I'm here for a reason. It aligns you to your destiny, because not everybody's aligned to their destiny. We don't automatically, you have to read the signs. The destiny unfolds. You have to read the signs and understand the signs of where you're being guided to know your true destiny. And so many people, the culture has taught this, the schools, the society. Believe me, I taught at school. They try to get this out of you, to give you a prefab destiny. And this is why it's only been fringe artists, certain people, a small amount of the population that ever gets to kind of rise to true greatness. And I don't mean by popularity or money, because that's not necessarily always an authentic destiny. That doesn't have to do with that. But I mean really rising with something important to say, not like, oh, I'm just this great marketer. I mean, believe me, advertisers, marketers, promoters, those are great. They amplify the message. But be very aware they're not the message. And you see that. Fashion's a good example of that. Street fashion or hip-hop is taken, and then the mainstream companies and world and mainstream designers take it on and make it something. And people say, oh, my God, look how famous they are. Look how much money they made by this design. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's great, but they didn't dream it up. They didn't create it. So always remember, the marketing, the advertising, that's late. That's late on the chain and is not always needed and necessary. It's the ability to create. It's the artist within you. And everybody has an artist within them. Even, if you can't paint or draw, it's not about that. It's about saying, expressing, creating something with your unique focal point, really. Your lens, how you see the world, generating something unique that has meaning and purpose. And that's what every artist does. So the soul is very connected with art. That's why I used to say, anyway, I haven't said it in a long time, but poetry is the language of the soul. That ability to tap into something more for a minute, to pierce the veil of mundane living and think something or intuit or interpret something or paint or draw or create something, and then bring it back into the mundane world, to tap into that potential, that possibility, and then bring that back as inspiration or motivation. And it requires you live there. You have to go there. You can't just do it mentally in the mind. You have to go through that particular portal and swim in that and then bring it through. You have to have that transcendent experience. Don't let this be you. This is one of the things that I see. People are going too much for, I want to be famous. I want the subscribers. I want the followers. I want the money. I want to get out of this job and get in a different job because I don't fit here anymore. So do thousands of people, millions of people want that. That's not the question. That's not the viewpoint. The viewpoint is, what do I have to say and share that I feel it in the very bones of my body, that I would do anyway, no matter what. And I'm sure some of you have heard that before. What would I do? What would I do? What's the urge? What's the nudge within me to share something, to create something, to paint something? It's almost like it overcomes you. When you're following that, then you are in alignment with the highest vibrational frequency of you in that moment. Now you're tapping in past that veil. You're going into the void, the potential you're creating. Now, we don't always get to live there. Some people live there longer than others. But you have to have the experience, the transcendent experience. You know, sometimes I've gone through very difficult times in my life, and sometimes I've complained about it. And I've had a couple good teachers, one who works with me, Josie, who does my billing and bookkeeping and all that and helps me keep organized. And she said, Michele, you have to go. How would you be able to really talk about it or explain it unless you had gone through it, unless you felt it? And that's true. It's not to say that we have to go through everything to share or teach it or help or assist, or for me as a psychic channel or a medium. You know, I don't own a mega yacht or a private jet, and I have clients that do. So I've been on them, but I don't own one, and I don't need to own one to understand that world. And I don't want to own one, by the way. But to some degree, there are certain things intrinsically that we need to go through to have that, not just the genuineness, but the resonance. So some of you may be going through something right now that you're aligning to a particular resonance to be able to share with a particular group or with people that have gone through similar experience as you. Whether they know that you've gone through it or not, you have that resonance. That's part of your inner knowing. That's part of your wisdom teaching. That will get translated on vibrationally and also in thoughts and ideas. That will get transferred on. So what you go through is not just for you, it's for other people, it's for the world, so that it maybe is repeated one less time. So look around the next few weeks. What is the gold? What have you gone through? What is the wisdom? What have you learned? And perhaps it's time that you share that, right? Oh, sales in the chat. Okay, thank you for that. I'm an artist, metalsmith, jewelry designer, and it's been hard ride dealing and being creative and trying to make money doing it. Oh, keep with it. You'll find a way. Jay, you're listening by phone. Okay, yeah, you will find a way, however that it happens. But yes, because we are going to come in the age of the artist, and I mean artisan, because so much has been pre-done over and over that it's lost its genuineness or its authenticity. So just you wait. Larger companies will be looking for smaller artists, artisans, however you find that, consultants, people doing their authenticness that they need to brand with, I guess you want to call it, bridge with and brand with, because even before the panty, as I like to call the pandemic, even before that, there was a lessening of people being caught up in over-consumerism, especially people that are chronologically younger. They were starting to do less always on the phone. They were starting to meet in person more, IRL more, hang out, and start curating meaningful experiences instead of just, having experiences to post online, but really having meaningful connections and experiences, and going back to finding what is most genuine and what's most, life-enriching and life-enhancing. So that trend is not over. It got perhaps disrupted to some degree, but I think you can take the social media or online aspect and culture and connect through that. Share, amplify your energy and your message through that, and help others do the same. But I do feel the pull, especially in the Aquarian age, is going back and finding what is truly genuine about what you do or how you do what you do. Again, looking at that why and the how. Because the question to ask yourself is not, who am I? I'm actually going to be doing a pick a card on this, because it will be called Who Am I Really? Because this new subscriber gave me a list of good suggestions for my readings, which I really appreciate them taking the time. But I am going to talk about it in the individual readings, that the question is not who am I, because who you are is a spiritual being having this experience. God in form, a soul having this experience, whatever. You already know who you are. How do you want to express that? How and where? Once you start focusing on, forget about who am I really, because then I'm a mother, no, I'm a father, I'm a daughter. Oh, I'm a Latina, I'm a Latino. No, I'm a Russian. Oh, no, I'm a this, I'm a that. No, That's like clothing. That's like putting on, oh, I'm my sweatpants. Oh, no, I'm my jeans. No, forget about that. Forget about that level of identity. That's going to come through if you need it or want it to by what you share. Where and how do you want to? How are you? How do you express? What's important to you? Where do you want to express this? How do you do what you do, and where do you want to express that? And how do you want to express that? That's going to open up worlds for you. All right, we're going to get to callers, 347-539-5122. Press 1 on the keypad. Jay Styling just started painting again. Wonderful, Jay. On the weekend outside my interior design gig. Not pretty, but it feels good. It's been 30. Wow, okay. Oh, okay. Sales 182. Thank you. I create everything from scratch, so my jewelry is unique. And from the heart, I do feel things changing and going more that. Oh, you do too. Good. Yeah, I definitely do. I'm not just, puffing out some little cutesy sayings. And part of it is I kind of, when I get my predictions, I start doing what I call deep dives. I start going internet. I start drawing in people, clients, some new, some, tried and true regular clients that give me the confirmations, like, oh, you're right, we did this study of the demographics, and this is changing, and that's, oh, you're right, this is happening, yeah, we did this study, or my company does this, or so there are people that do all that and probably saw this happening 10 years earlier. But, yeah, I do agree with you in the chat, definitely. I think I'm glad you're seeing that, too. That's a great confirmation. Yep. All right, 347-539-5122 is the number. Press 1 on your keypad. Hi, you're on air.
Hi, Michelle. This is Debbie. So happy to call in and say
Debbie.
Thank you. Oh, I just love being back in Southern California. I feel so comfortable.
Good.
I feel the energy I can't drive too far away from where I feel so comfortable. It's like an innate sense, like, oh, I'm off my comfort zone, and I have to go back to the coast. And I'm still looking to secure housing, and I've been stretching further away from the coast, and I just don't like the way how I feel, and I don't think it's supportive of my reason for coming back here when I knew a year ago to when I heard to go back to Encinitas area, and I'm really joyful with being able to be near my friends and the horses and the other critters and the ocean, and so happy I listened, and so happy for all of your confirmation and your wisdom. I'm calling today to ask you what you and the guides would like to inform me of regarding housing.
Okay. Well, I am so glad you're there. And how was the rain, the storming?
Well, I feel that it's paused a little, stalled, a little over the LA region. It hadn't hit San Diego as hard as it could have, as they said.
Okay.
San Diego County, North County. It, I don't see any flooding where I've been in Del Mar or, between Del Mar and
I wondered. I think it's down San Diego proper, like around Pacific Avenue. I think it was more, I just
areas that I don't know.
Kind of curious about that, yeah. Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Debbie, what do you want to know about now? Okay, well, you're getting kind of grooved into your house. I feel like there's a lot of stuff, house, home, foundation, that kind of seems to be your focus right now.
Yes.
Maybe even some writing is what I'm hearing. But house, home,
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. That's what I've been doing.
Getting set up is what I get, for whatever that means. Something about you getting set up.
Good. And yes, of course, every time you say writing, writing. Yes, that's my...
Are you writing?
That's my... Yes. I'm trying to keep adding to the book that's not finished. And doing what you said that confirmed what I felt a couple of years ago. Keep it really short, really short. Not
I was hearing short again.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm hearing with you need to do a little e-book or PDF book about horses and what they tell us. and start
that's easy.
Start writing your messages from the horses on Instagram. Start writing what you're learning.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to hide behind that book the big book for a long time.
Okay, that gives me more movement. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
just start putting out what you've known. Yeah, just start putting out what you've learned and what you know. Messages from the horses.
Mm-hmm.
What are they telling you? What are you learning? What do they want us to know? Because you are a channel of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Time.
Okay. It is. That's why I've come back.
Time for you to get.
I couldn't stand not being around the horses. So this is in alignment. Thank you. This is very much in alignment.
Oh, good. Good.
Okay.
Good.
I will.
All right. Keep us posted. Let us know. Give you 2 weeks. 2 weeks to get that going. And then let us know where people can start reading.
You're so much fun. I send you a big hug.
Big hug.
Thanks so much, Michelle. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye. Bye. Hi, you're on air.
You're really funny, Michelle. This is Sunray.
Sunray.
The last caller. You're like, I'm going to push you into that. Oh my God! I'm like, what are you going to tell me next?
Exactly.
No. I mean, you kind of repeated essentially, like, I'm glad that you're drilling it into our heads, like the why and the how, and it's just really funny. It is so true, and I'm still meditating on that the last time that you mentioned it to me, but I am just really thankful because every time I do call in and I listen to you, I'm like, it's, I kind of analogize it to this, like sitting at a table, seeing marbles on the table. You're like, there's everyone else has their marbles too, but you're kind of like, where's the bowl? Like, am I supposed to have a bowl for these marbles? And you think you're like crazy, you see the next person who has a bowl with their marbles. But then
let's have a bowl
when you
too.
find out. I find that like this community is so uplifting and confirming and enriching. Like right now, I feel really great. While I'm like seeing this is like there's like a lot of hoops to jump through, or at least it looks like there's hoops to jump through, and there's a lot of like unknown, and it's kind of like where I'm at. Exciting this job that I'm applying for. I'm really excited about because I just had a 2-hour interview with them. It was supposed to be an hour, and then now they're asking for references. It's just like a lot of work, but I'm like just trusting in the process and knowing that like I don't see it all, but that it's okay. And that I don't have to know it all and I don't have to see it all. But that I just have to kind of like step back and be like, okay, what can I do now? Like, what is important now? Whether that means just sitting with something or just like, whether it's sitting with something or whatever else. But anyway, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know if this makes sense.
No, it does, and I think it's great wisdom for people to know, because one thing that I learned kind of over the years, it was really interesting, is that if you're really in your soul flow, as I like to call it, is there's a lot we don't know because we're in the unfolding. The only part of us we know is our ego. That's why on the earth plane there's so much about this whole idea of identity. It's like I'm a this and I'm a that. It's to try to get some level of security of this is how I show up and this is how you treat me. But that it blocks so much.
I have a question for you. So then is that, because you mentioned earlier about the ego like coming up and how like you will, as one becomes like higher in their frequency, they'll recognize more often when they're approached by this ego. So that kind of sounded like almost like ego was like a negative thing, but then now it kind of sounds like you're explaining that the ego can be used as a tool.
No, the ego's not negative, especially if we're looking at this psychologically. But there's different parts of the ego. There's different, what we call the disowned self. There's parts, most people's ego is what's called the false self. It's parts of us that didn't get love, attention, or approval. Maybe even, like if you laugh too loud, you got, don't laugh loud, or that's too loud, or girls don't laugh loud, or don't do this, and that gets stuck, right? That gets stuck. So we create this false, which I call it the egoic. But as an interface, the ego part of us has a lot of our, to some degree, social conditioning. It's an interface to the higher world. Maybe or higher mind. It's more of our beta consciousness, our everyday consciousness, how we get through the world. It's there to organize our inner psyche, the parts of us to some degree. All these parts, how they fit together, all these things, and it kind of helps us manage it, make sense. It helps us feel safe. The ego part of us just has that idea to navigate without things spilling over. And to be honest, there's certain, if they're really good, initiates, they will require you have a strong ego. Well, like when I did my shamanic training, and one of the teachers, you had to have, because if you don't have a strong ego, then you start thinking that you're identifying as, God come back, or, Jesus, right? And there's mental.
We come back to that. Sorry. I'm just thinking now, because coming back to that analogy I gave you about the marbles, the bowl, and the person. So you could say as if like the person who's observing the marbles in the bowl is the soul self, and then the marbles themselves is the egoic, or what you're saying is the false ego, and then the bowl itself is the ego?
No. The egoic or the false self, some people have a lot of it, some people have a little of it, some people have very little to none of a false self. It depends how you grew up, and if you had a lot of limitations, then that's what, this kind of gets kind of more, in depth into psychology, but a lot of people, what they could term like the negative shadow. It's like things that you couldn't be. Like if you were told, you can't get angry, or if you got angry, you got hit, or you couldn't say what you really wanted, then that anger had to become, you disowned that part of you. You don't show that, so it gets acted out. So the ego, which ego, superego, if you look at, it's kind of Freudian and Jungian, it's kind of a navigating principle, but it's not where it only knows, the ego part of us only knows what it knows, and it only knows what's been done before. It's really the kind of not just keeping us safe, but it's the regulatory part of us, right? It's not where our insights come from. It's not where the great artist's idea or impression comes from, because it only can keep. The ego only knows what was done before. It's kind of like programming a computer. If you have a certain apps on your computer, it can do those functions. Okay, that's the ego. Whatever it's programmed to do, it can do. But beyond that, this is why when people live too much from the ego, it cuts out the soul. So people that say, I learned this, I learned this, and I was trained in this, and this is how you get ahead. That's all ego. That's all ego, because you don't know that. Maybe that worked a day or 2 or 5 years ago. Maybe it worked for Bobby down the road and Kathy down the road, but it may not be on your path. And so that's why connecting more from the soul or through the higher self is so powerful. And eventually, and we need the ego because it's the part that keeps us safe. It's a lot of the social functioning and how-tos are there, but too much living from there, too much living from the ego cuts off the soul juice, cuts off, the inspiration, insight, creativity.
Yeah, so I guess that's where finding that balance is at then.
Yeah, and I've seen... like someone that doesn't have a strong sense of ego in a healthy way, we call it ego conditioning in the work that I do, the transpersonal work that I do, psychology, transpersonal psychology, transpersonal hypnotherapy. A good ego strengthening, a good ego is like you know what you're good at, you're proud of it, you know, you feel good, self-esteem. It's self-esteem, basically, good self-esteem. This is what bullies, people that are power over or victimizing people do not. They may look like, oh, they have a big ego. Well, actually, they don't. They have perhaps a false sense of ego or ego, you know, coming from the egoic nature. But they don't really have self-esteem, like a healthy ego that knows, oh, I'm good at this. Well, not so good at that. I could be better. Or, you know, or, yeah, I really thrive in painting, but like singing, not so good. You know, you have, you know, a good self-respect and for yourself and your gifts, you know, and understanding and compassion. So, yeah, so the ego's not bad. It's just so much in the world isn't even a healthy ego. It's really the egoic. It's the false self that's out there and the false narrative masquerading as confident.
Thanks for making that distinction.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we don't want to get rid of the ego. I mean, at some point we won't need it when the soul is totally subsumed, because part of the ego is the part that when you have a bad experience and you get around something that seems similar, it may say, warning, warning, you might get fear, you might get a message, oh my God, this is happening again. That's coming from the ego. But this is why getting in that detached observer or witness self or, you know, just pulling back, you could go, oh, it seems like that, but you got to go into the higher mind to do that. It seems similar, but it may not be. I don't necessarily have to cut this person off or be fearful. I get in a caution, but it may not be the same. So again, that ego part tries to keep us safe, you know, to some degree, organized, regulation. That's why it likes a lot of laws and regulation, because it's trying to always create certainty out of the chaos, but it doesn't realize part of the chaos, because that's not its function to understand chaos, you know.
You got to enjoy ego out of moderation.
Yeah.
or yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Unless it thrives.
Hey, what?
You are welcome. Yeah, I think you're doing great. I feel a portal opening for you. So.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think you're about to go into some. Yeah, I think you're about to go into some big change. So just keep whatever you're doing. Just keep doing it. You know, follow through is what I'm hearing. It's about following through.
I'm currently sending an email out, so thank you so much.
Perfect.
That means a lot.
Yeah,
right.
Just follow through, follow up, follow through, and then do something nice for you to get a healthy distraction, something interesting, fun, life-enhancing, and then go back and then just keep following up, follow through. Because that's your lesson, right, is the consistency, right?
Wow, yeah. Absolutely. You said a lot in just a little, yeah.
All right, Sunray, big hug to you.
Big hug. We love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. Hi, you're on air.
Hi, Michelle. It's Teresa. How are you?
Hello, Teresa. Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I want to see what you see around. I have an opportunity it'll be in April to again submit a book proposal to Hay House. They have merged now with I think it's called Penguin something or other. I forget the other name. But they say they're keeping everything the same, and we're still being able to
it merged with what now? Another company?
Yeah, they merged with another company. I think Penguin Reed or something is called. Penguin Random House. And I submitted before. And I thought they were good proposals, but for whatever reason, nothing became of it. This would actually be my third try. Do you see anything around that?
I heard is I think something new is forming within you. I think there's I get a lot of Pluto energy, by the way, Pluto. And so it says you become more cohesive in what you're doing and your messaging, then the book will extend from that. So it's almost on the mark, but not quite. It's hitting. That you haven't kind of come into a whole cohesiveness of a system or a project, or you've got pieces of it. So that's where I think that's happening. It may not be either fully understood or fully resonating. It seems like there's parts of it that are, if that makes sense.
It does. Since this would be submitted in April, do you see it making sense that I go forward and submit something?
I don't know. I don't feel you're there yet. I feel like there's something, like it's almost like there's something newly forming or understanding about yourself or what you want to share or talk about or write about, and I don't feel that that's there yet, even though you want to get that out there. It feels like there needs to be other things, maybe even more being on social media more and getting on that. There seems like there's other steps in there before you would have that level of, success, whatever that is in your mind. I'm just going to use that as a word for, time.
Yeah, they do count platforms and social media and different things.
They
and
do.
I know I'm not there with that yet. Okay.
Okay. There you go then. Okay, that's why that came through then. Okay, cool. Keep us posted, Teresa. Talk to you later.
Okay. Okay, bye.
Bye. Hi, you're on air.
Hi, it's Sarah, sales, whatever my number is on there. I don't even remember.
Sarah, welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
So I don't really know a specific question, but basically anything that kind of comes to you, I suppose.
Okay. Well, it's better to have a question. Let's see. Well, the first thing I get actually is something from the past coming forward. So something you might have given up on, you're going to be bringing that forward. There's something that you're going to be bringing forward, if that makes sense.
Okay, because I was self-employed for 10 years doing jewelry, and then times got tough, and I at a local jewelry store I knew the owner very well, and he wanted me to work for him, so I took the job. And I worked there for 3 years, did great, loved it, just had some issues with some of my employees. And then I was basically fired randomly by the manager because somebody stated I gave a personal phone number of a employee to a customer, which I never did. And that was basically the end of it. So now I'm back to being self-employed and starting from scratch. From the last 3 years of not
that might be what I'm getting psychically. You're going back to something you did before, but doing it differently. Right. And that is a big, that's a big theme for a lot of people in the next, I would say, 3 to 4 years. That's been a big theme starting the beginning of this year. Well, let's say January, February. So that's what I would say. Yeah, then you're right on target. Listening to your intuition. Yeah, just go back to that.
And anything with any relationships?
No, that's your thing right now. You got to get straight on you. You got to get in your authentic flow, and then everything will come into that. And you'll be much happier. You're going to do plan for holiday season. I see little boxes going out. So whether it's in a store or online or selling through Etsy or Instagram or whatever, I feel like you could, if you prepare now, you could really have a boom, a big boom with what you do in offering your stuff. Yeah. That's your target.
Really working.
Perfect. Okay. That's your target time. It's you'll do really well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening. Glad you could listen live. Glad you could join us live.
Yes.
So cool.
Yes.
All right. Take care, Sarah. Bye. Hi, you're on air. I'm waiting for our guest. I've got the number, but no, not called. They haven't called in yet. So, hi, you're on air.
Hi. Hello?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you. This is Karen in New York.
Hi, Karen.
I wonder what you... Thank you. Thank you. I always enjoy your show. Anyway, I have this interview that I recently found out about. It's a phone interview next Wednesday. It's not for a job or anything, interesting or positive like that. It's kind of a review to make sure I'm still eligible for this program I'm on, which I would like to be off, but I'm not ready to.
You're not ready yet, but are they going to ask a lot of questions? It's something personal, right?
Yes, finance and I guess home situation and.
Yeah, a lot of questions.
Are they going to have any? Right. Do they have any information that's going to bite me? Is this going to be a negative thing? Or is it
let's see. Well, I see them asking. I think you extend it. It gets extended. So if you're wanting to extend the program, it's almost like you have to apply again, or you're applying again. Is what I'm hearing.
Okay. Because there are a lot of changes I know going forward in the government.
Okay. Maybe that's why. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm hearing it from the psychic sources are saying that, not the government sources. I'm just putting that in because of what I've heard from, predictions.
No, well, it looks like you're government, like you're applying again by all the questions, or you're reapplying, or renew. It's almost like even if it's renewing, it's like a reapplying in a way, by all the personal questions, all the details, all the stuff you have to fill out. But it does look like it goes through. There may be a limit on it. I don't know if last time there was a limit. There may be a limit on it, and you have to either redo or reapply, is what I'm hearing, or fill something out. Yeah.
I thought that actually they may had made a mistake with me somewhere, which I did try to investigate and get corrected. It didn't work, but I kept feeling like I'm really owed more money. So I've been trying to do a manifestation kind of thing, visualizing and finding the mistake and giving me more. So of course in my dream mind, I would like this interview to
maybe
be
you get more, but not from that. Maybe you get more, but not from that source.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't limit the source. Sometimes we get more, but maybe not from that particular source, right?
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So is this a protocol interview? I mean, are they doing it across the board, or is it somehow that they are focusing on
I can't tell that. I can't tell that with getting in. That's why I said it looks like they ask you a lot of questions. It looks very personal, detailed. It feels like it's almost like you're reapplying, or they're reapplying, okaying you or whatever.
Right.
Verifying.
Yeah.
All right, Karen, I got to scoot. I'm trying to see if our guest is not called in yet.
Oh, okay.
Keep listening though. Got a good guest on. Much peace.
I hope so.
Okay. All right, gang. 347-539-5122 is the number. I'm going to see. I do not see the guest calling in, so I'm going to text Sadie. Numbers I have. Okay, maybe they're calling in. Maybe the number is written down. If our guest is in, put the hand up. I guess I can go longer in readings. Okay, so guest, I have a 704 and a 980. So if that's you, let me know. Or maybe you got the time zone wrong or something. Anyway, I am really loving these questions, you guys. really inspiring with all of you moving to your next level of soul expression. You guys, you got to. Everyone has to. You're going to start feeling the squeeze, the urge, the nudge, and the squeeze. That's how it's kind of coming through. And you can't, once the toothpaste is squeezed out, you can't put it back in, right? So some of you will feel a nudge, maybe a push. Some of you are going to feel this urge, this energy of, I want to do this, I've got to do this. You'll feel like reaching out, just whatever it is in your situation, going a certain place, doing a certain something, starting something, going back to something new, following through, putting yourself out there more in the world, or online or whatever, social media, or creating something. You're going to feel this kind of urge. Some of you, it's the squeeze to make the changes. Things are squeezing. They're getting smaller. You're going to start feeling and seeing like my world is too small. I've outgrown my world. Some of you are going to start feeling and seeing openings, like something is opening, something is new. And you won't know. To Sunray's point, are you on? I might pick up Sunray again. To Sunray's point, sometimes what happens is, sometimes people say this, and maybe you've had this before. I didn't know where this was going, but I knew somehow it was going to change my life, or something was going to come in and get me on a new path or new road, or help me get out of this situation. That's what's coming around for a lot of people. This is why I'm saying focus on the focal points. Teresa, are you on still? Maybe not. Yeah, you guys, this is the other thing. Yes, there can be miracles, there can be exponential leaps, but at least be prepared. If you're already in a field and I need to have my social media more up, or I need to connect with people more, if you already know that that's the game, where do you think that game came from? Spirit, God, the OverSouls, as a way of us extending out of ourselves. So if you already know there's certain things that it's better to have, that doesn't mean don't start. Start whatever you want to do. Start what you're doing. But if you are going, like we had about the book publishing, I've had 3 or 4 clients that I've helped publish books, guide them on doing that. 2 of them, I've had more than 3 that I've helped, but 2 or 3 of them, it was their posts first. Their blogs was their first book. The publisher came in and basically said, you've got a book already here. We'll edit it. So, nothing ever gets lost or, not used. So that's why I'm saying, if you guys think more about that why are you doing what you want to do? Why do you want to, I'm passionate about sharing about the soul and about helping people overcome blocks and challenges and repatterning, and that's why I went back to school for the hypnotherapy and the counseling, everything that I've studied, from whatever it is, energy work, massage, astrology, numerology, Kabbalah, metaphysics, esoteric wisdom, holistic health counseling, transitional counseling, transpersonal psychology, transpersonal therapy, tarot, everything. Because I loved it, I enjoyed it, I benefited by it, and I saw I can help people, I can reach people. Writing, my gift of writing. I would do that anyway, because I see things in language. When I see nature, I see things in lyrics, in poetry, in prose. I see things in words. The trees speak to me certain words. I'm looking out at the sky. When I see the sky, right away a poem comes in. So that to me is like second nature, so that I'm gifted to be able to, quote unquote, earn a living or have money come from my writing or my courses, my classes, my curriculums that I create, my videos. It's all the teaching. I was a teacher. Forgot that too. I have a background in teaching. So that I love doing and reaching people and inspire, like Patreon. Those people, if you join the Soul Awakening Patreon community, I do behind the scenes. I'm in my car, I'm hiking, I'm traveling, I'm this, I'm that, but I'm sharing what I'm going through, what I see, what the guides tell me, what I open to source. Some of it's planned curriculum, it's some of it is just, hey, this is the energy pattern that's coming up. But I would do that anyway. So that's the best, right now, because I know a lot of people are saying, well, what can I do? What should I do? What can I do? Well, start there. I think a lot of people are looking first at where can I make the most money. So you have to discern. If you're wanting to just make a certain amount of money, that's fine, and you'll take any job to do that. It's like, okay, that I have clients that are like that. They have, okay, I'm a pharmaceutical sales. I do this. That's when I make a lot of money, and they're like happy with that. And then they're like, yeah, and then we go traveling and we have trips, or I buy this. Their source of fulfillment is not in that job. That job has a certain function. So you all have to start deciding what's your lifestyle. Is it just, okay, I just need to make a certain amount of money, and then that's going to pay for what I do in my life, my lifestyle, my amenities, my responsibilities? Or are you the type of person that says, my life is my work, my lifestyle is my work? It's not just for a certain amount of money or insurance and to pay for things. I want to get paid for what I love to do. It's very different. There's not wrong or right on either side. There's no wrong or right. It's just two very different types of people. And sometimes you're one for a period of time, and then you're another one. I've worked with clients that have had kids, and they're like, I just need to make this amount of money for my family, and that's it. And then as the kids got older, they're like, now I really want to research what I want to do. I really want to see what's more fulfilling for me. Now, some people that never changes, and that's okay. But you have to be honest with yourself right now and look and see what is, how are you? Again, the why. Why do you want to do what you want to do, and the how. How do you want to make your way in the world? That's another how. So when you start looking at that, you can then discern what your authentic self is, what your truth is, what's genuine to you. Like, I could do any job, and I have in the past, to just make ends meet, or if I needed to get out of a pinch, or if I had to, small children, and I'm like, I probably wouldn't even do that. I've got to be honest. I would do it for a very short period of time, because I'm definitely the artist, creative nature. And I think a 5 in the Enneagram. So I'm very much about creativity, art, and spending as much time as doing what I personally find fulfilling and love doing. But I have friends that are not like that. I have friends that have done stuff that they sort of liked, just to kind of pay the bills. So if you're really being honest with yourself right now, you can put yourself in a position to really thrive. And you might even say, okay, I just need this job to get me through this patch of life, or to help me bridge, or help me pay off bills, or pay debt down, or for the insurance. If you're in a bridging situation, you don't want to just focus on that. You want to start developing or creating what you're bridging to. That's the whole thing. A lot of what happens is people get in these transitional jobs, and they don't work on their passion project. They don't work on that. You have to do both simultaneously, bit by bit. Okay, I don't know what happened to our guest. Let's see. Who is this? Hello?
Hello. Hi.
Is this Sunray?
Hello. Yep.
Hello?
Hello. Hi.
Okay, hi, back again. Okay, hi.
Hi. Yeah.
Any thoughts? I would need some Sunray tips.
Lots of thoughts.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just that I think it's, thoughts, I don't even know where to start, because there's so much, you're right, there's so much change and a lot of reviewing and cycles that need to be broken down, and there's a lot of patience that we just have to step into in order to also allow things to kind of surface up, because some things surface up faster than others. And others don't surface up as much. So I think it's just kind of taking it day by day, step by step, and then just letting it unfold. And yeah, that's what I've been thinking as I'm like listening to your channeling. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Yeah.
So where's a good place to start, do you think? For people, let's say, in transition or bridging, what do you think really helps?
Well, for example, if one's like nervous about a home that they're trying to obtain or a job that they're trying to obtain, I think you really point out a really great thing to like kind of take breaks, to like go do something else and be in a very uplifting, high vibrational frequency or creative space. And then to come back to that, to just find balance and like doing a little action every day. And then saying, okay, I did X, Y, and Z, and I accomplished something. You know, taking small bites and saying I did something, because that's all like humans in our conditioning that we enjoy, I guess, is feeling satisfied for doing something. So if it's that you're looking for a new place to live, it's applying for a house, and you apply and like you accomplish something that day. You apply for a house. So then go ahead and take that time to do something fun in your life, and then let that just kind of go. I think you might have even mentioned this before as an analogy in the past about like when you go to a restaurant, you sit down at a restaurant and you have a server who comes up to you and asks you for what you want, and that's kind of like life. We want a job, we want a relationship, we want a new home, we want something else that's more life enhancing. So when we put in that order, we don't follow the server to the kitchen and make sure they're putting it in.
Yeah.
You trust that they came to you, you gave them your order, and then it'll come out. And then it comes out. And then you enjoy your meal. Of course, sometimes life happens and then the server doesn't do the things correctly. Maybe you're a little frustrated, but it's okay because, you know, if you're there at the restaurant in the first place, it must mean that you're able to, like, get some food in your stomach at some point. So you'll get some food, but, you know, who knows? You never know. Maybe the server just took time and now they'll comp your meal or something. You just never know. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I take two things from what you said. That letting it go, and it's going to be served. Sometimes we love it, sometimes not so much, whatever. Sometimes we can make adjustments. I love that. And also the restaurant. This, I think, is a biggie. You've got to work with what you have wherever you're at. You know, if you're in a Mexican restaurant, now some do combine the two, but if there's only Mexican food, don't be asking the server for, you know, chow mein or you know, Penang Thai curry. So that's another biggie I think people don't do, is they want what's not in their immediate environment. They want to create something, which goes back to bridging, that isn't even there. We have to use the resources or whatever we have, right, to wherever we're at.
You come back to yourself. You come back to yourself.
Yeah.
So if the server did something incorrectly, or usually, sometimes, more often than not, in my experience, it's actually the customers did something incorrectly, or there's a miscommunication in there. So it could be that it's no one's fault, but that there was just a miscommunication, and then it just
or you just
comes
don't like
back
the
to
way
that
the chef
person.
makes it. Sometimes we just don't like. We like different. I've had that happen. I've gone to certain restaurants, and they're like, "Oh, it's a different cook," and I'm like, "Oh my God, the food tastes so different," but it's the same recipe. That happens a lot in, you know, restaurants, but I think that's, yeah.
What are your thoughts about like this and cycles, though? So like there's this idea of, or like, so we're talking about the server analogy, but how can that be maybe applied to the cycles that we want to break? I think it also comes back to the self and finding that awareness. Because we get just, I mean, I can speak for myself. I get too caught up on a lot of things in life, and then that distracts me from the cycles that I know I'm in. But breaking them, I've learned that the first thing is awareness and just accepting that you have a cycle, or recognizing that you're still doing something over and over again, and then just kind of maybe using that same process of letting go, trusting, and allowing, and then taking it day by day. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's also what I talked about, focal point. I think consistent change happens by consistency. So it's not a sweeping change, or like getting blown out in a great relationship or blown out in a great workshop. It's the consistency. And I think if people are just being consistent, even if it's small steps, then, it works. It ends up working. Yeah. Thank you, Sunray. I knew you'd have some wisdom for us.
Absolutely. I'm always here.
Okay, cool. That was Sunray. You can find him on Instagram. All right, talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, gang, 347-539-5122. Hannah, I will get to that question. That's a good question. I don't feel this year, but I will get to that. We have another caller. Let's see. Well, let's go with that great awakening, the great reckoning and awakening. For some people it's happening little by little. We are in that rude awakening. I definitely feel that if we look astrologically, I would probably say Saturn in Aries. I think the tone is going to change with Jupiter going into Gemini, Uranus going into Gemini, the disseminating phase. We're only in the gathering phase. Right now we're in the phase of people gathering to create the respites, to bridge to the new world, the parallel economy, different ways of working and living, different ways of focusing on your resources and your money. But we still have some big slap rude awakenings. And that rude awakening will come through digital currency, Bitcoin, government. I've always said that was government created, and it's people don't question enough. Really, they don't question enough, and bring things back to their own inner knowing. We're only in this 20-year cycle with Pluto in Aquarius. I feel that's going to bring people more into the truth-telling. But the kind of nirvana people are wanting, I don't see that until 2045, 2050. We have a lot of stuff, a lot of building up of this new world order and this corporatocracy. What do I want to call it? Like a board, if you would, a governing board. So we have some big buildups yet with the institutions of power and governmental institutions. And so that's why it is important to kind of connect in with your gifts and your abilities and share with others and just try more things. Because if you look at all the times where there has been destruction or a lot of chaos, and there's been building up through order or a new system, there's always been a parallel or an adjunct that certain people have gravitated to. And for sure, this time around, this particular lifetime or timeline, we have the most starseeds on the planet, the most starseed light workers, and the most light workers. So it is a different time. There is a different there is a different group or grouping planetarily. Now the thing is to kind of come together and not get distracted with the outer games, the outer world pitting against each other. So we still have that. If you look at it, we're kind of it's like the Industrial Revolution. We've still been living off of that. And really, the Renaissance period, too. If you look back, especially 16th, 17th, 18th century, early 19th, that's what we're still living out. That's that patterning. And really the pattern that we have emotionally, relating pattern, has been through all of time. You see this pattern in the Bible, ancient scripture studies, the Vedas. It doesn't matter. You see it in ancient civilizations, Babylonia, Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt, ancient Greece. It's the same game over and over and over. And one of the things that trips people up is they put their focal point into a particular savior, whether a president, whether a movie star, a celebrity, a rock star, minister. People are looking for the one, and there is not going to be a one. There will be a one that is the ultimate rude awakening, that people are then going to learn the lesson to do their own research and have their own, keep their things going, and not put stock in one person. That's what's going to that's going to be the thing that really trips the trigger. That's going to get people really awakened. Is, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this is where it's going. So that has to happen first before this reckoning. So we're really in that rude awakening, which also part of this time is the great forgetful, the forgetting, which trying to forget history, trying to forget, erase history, her story or history. And also within that is the technological. You can also say we're playing out this Atlantean Lemurian theme. There's a lot of different ways to look at it, but bottom line is it's going to have to do with self-responsibility and accountability, realizing and then actualizing more of our gifts and banding together and not getting caught up in the superfluous or extraneous part of the chaos. That's a big part of the problem. People are waiting for an individual savior. And in the United States, it looked like Obama, or not, well, Obama, he was another one, Trump, whatever. Who's the other ones? Kamala, what's the other one? Biden. Anyway, nobody is getting in until the consciousness changes. That's the bottom line. And until there is enough consciousness to begin to create a new system. So I hope that answered the question in the chat. I do not see our guest, so let's just take another caller. Hi, you're on air.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. Who's this?
This is Dion.
Dion?
Yeah.
Hi, Dion. Welcome.
So we talked, I want to say it was around Christmas time.
Oh, cool.
And
okay.
You told me, there's a relationship coming in, and you told me that you thought he was maybe Aries.
Yeah.
Aries sun, and that he had something to do with cars. Right?
Okay. Right. What happened?
Well, nothing's happened yet, but you also said it wasn't going to happen during the winter time.
Oh, okay. Well then, all right.
But I know two guys, but they're not Aries. They're not Aries sun.
Well, I don't know if I said Aries sun. I'm rarely say, maybe I said time of Aries, or maybe it could be Aries or not. I don't know. These are quick mini reads. But if I didn't, I don't remember the reading, but if I did say, yeah, cool. So what about, why, are you in touch with these other guys or something?
Yeah. So I'm like, well, I saw you were on today, and I'm like, ooh, let me jump on and see if she has any since it's getting closer, well, I don't know if it's a little closer. It's been 2 months. If you had any more, like, details or any clues.
Okay, let's see if you're meant to know anything. If it's meant to know what the heck's coming up. All right. And you're around these people now. It could be somebody through them. Oh, okay, there's what's coming up for dating. So funny, Aries is coming up again. Are you Aries, or where do you have Aries in your chart?
I'm
planet
Aries
in Aries or sign? Oh, you're Aries. Oh, okay, because Aries is coming up again. Aries moon. Well, I'm just going to say that probably something's changing a lot in Aries. Let's see, what should you do about dating? I'm getting get out there more. Now, you might be out, quote unquote, out there more or casually dating. It's showing to kind of take it. Are you in the past? Were you more the type to be very helpful or supportive, kind of taking more of a auxiliary position? I like to call it. Maybe not the main person, or more the friend.
No, I wouldn't say that. I just haven't been able to like really go get out there and do anything because I have health issues and I'm pending surgery like the end of next month.
Oh,
so I wouldn't even be able to get out there.
So maybe it's that.
Like
okay.
End of April,
so
May.
Then when you get out, when you get done, you just need to be more out or out and about when you heal. Because it's saying focus more on you and your emotions. And I think rather than you thinking about, I want to, marry someone or get a person, it's just like to just be more light about it, I guess.
Maybe
it's because of the healing.
I really have been happy being single. You know what I'm saying? But being single is different than when you start dating people. Do you get it? So when we're single, our issues don't come up. It's when we're starting to date, or when we're actually looking, or when we're starting to date. So I would just say, just focus. The little bit of time that we have, that the show's ending. I would just focus on you. I guess because you're going into the surgery or healing. I have no chance. I have no choice but to focus on myself.
Well, that's what's coming up. That's what's beyond. That's what's coming up for you. You're healing.
Right spot at the right time.
Yeah, you're
I'm in
perfect
the right
where you are right now.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're so welcome. Perfect. Just
Thank
do
you,
boo.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Follow your own inner knowing. Perfect. Okay, I love that. Follow your own inner knowing. Sometimes we're on track. Sometimes we are just on track. All right, gang, I don't know what happened to our guest. She confirmed, but sometimes when people call from another country, they get the time wrong. Anyway, I've had a wonderful time connecting with all of you and all of you that called in with your questions, your insight, your wisdom. Thank you so very much. Extra thank you for Debbie that called in, and also Sunray with his amazing wisdom to us. Thank you all in the chat. Thank you all for co-creating this. This has been, feels really good. I really feel like all of you are just here in my living room as I'm sipping my decaf cortado. I just feel like we've had a nice chat, and I do appreciate all of you spending time here. Anyway, as always, continue to shine your light. Share your insights. Very important. Share your insights. And, of course, keep awake. See you next week. I'm getting woke and staying woke.
Awakenings broadcasts every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Archive shows available on iTunes. For continued awakened conversations and insights, join the Awakenings group on Facebook. And check out Michelle's blog at soulplayground.com and keep awake.